It all started when John Shillito, that lived from 1808 to 1879, known as the Pioneer Merchant, came to Cincinnati in 1817 from his native Greensburg, Pennsylvania. Eventually, after working with Blatchley and Simpson, John Shillito would partner with Burnett and Pullen. Their business was so good that a larger premises was built on the other side of the street between 4th and 5th Street in 1833. Eventually, John bought out the partners and he renamed the business to John Shillito and Company. 20 years after the move to 4th Street, in 1857, Shillito acquired property on the opposite side of the street and erected a grand retail palace that his store occupied for a further 21 years. In 1877, Shillito erected a 6-story, red brick Chicago-style commercial building on 7th and George Street. The Cincinnati Enquirer referred to it as a grand architectural pile and featured a soaring octagonal light well capped by a dome with Gothic details. The store required a staff of 1,000 to operate. Bad times hit Shillito's in the 1920s, when a crash in the price of fabrics left the store overstocked with high-priced goods. In the ensuing years, the store's volume dropped such that its position among Cincinnati's major department stores fell from 1st to 4th place, and it was rumored in Cincinnati that the business would not live to see its 100th anniversary. The Lazarus brothers of Columbus, Ohio, operated an extremely successful department store in Ohio's capital city. Their mother hailed from Cincinnati, so they were intimately familiar with the city. By 1928, Shillito's store was described as a terribly maintained building full of low-quality goods, and Stuart Shillito was able to negotiate a sale of the business to the Lazarus family. John Shillito Jr., who had been running Shillito's at the time, immediately retired from the business, and the Lazarus brothers embarked upon a major program of cleaning, expansion, and improvement. Accordingly, the new Shillito's opened on November 11, 1928, stocked with new merchandise and soon offering new features like a tea room and a French room for ladies' designer apparel. For the actual grand opening, Shillito's provided 7 orchestras, one playing on each floor of the store, and events that presaged the success that the revitalized business would find in Cincinnati in the years to come. Shillito's prospered during the Depression years and found itself again with a shortage of space in its 58-year-old store. A major program of expansion culminated in 1937 with the unveiling of an enlarged Greater Shillito's with a modern Bedford limestone facade and 7-store addition extending as far west as Elm Street. A part of this new building was used for an innovation at the time, an indoor parking garage accommodating 250 cars. After World War II, Shillito's built a new garage across Elm Street, kitty corner from the store. The former garage space in the main building was converted to retail space, and the main floor of the garage itself, referred to as the garage store, housed more sales space as Shillito's grew. In 1956 the garage was expanded and the top floor housed the offices of Shillito's parent company, Federated Department Stores Incorporated. Shillito's had a plethora of things to do, and shopping was one of them. Shillito's was one of the most popular department stores in downtown Cincinnati for over 150 years. One of the most popular times of the year for Shillito's was Christmas. Many families still today remember the magical times downtown while shopping for the holidays and looking at the window displays. The Santa's Workshop and the Grinch Stole Christmas were popular holiday displays among customers. To compete with this behemoth, Cincinnati's other department stores led in the race to open suburban branches while Shillito's remained a one-store operation. That all changed in 1960 when Shillito's opened its large, full-line store in the Tri-County Mall, north of Cincinnati, and then the Western Woods, Kenwood, and Beachmont malls. When the city was ringed with branches that opened in the years 1960 to 1969, the store expanded into Kentucky by opening 2 stores in Louisville, 1 in Lexington, and a further branch in the Kentucky communities, south of Cincinnati, at the Florence Mall. Federated Department Stores was involved in the Campo debacle and after recovering, went all out on a program of consolidation that eliminated many famous department store names across the country. First, Shillito's took over neighboring Dayton, Ohio's long-standing Reich-Kumler Company, clumsily renaming all stores Shillito Reichs, and later combined with its one-time savior Lazarus, dropping the Shillito name altogether. Eventually, the remaining stores were known as Lazarus Macy's, until the Macy brand name was selected to adorn all of the stores owned by the former federated organization. The John Shillito Company's 7th and Race Street store was converted to apartments, and perhaps the only silver lining in the decline and fall of this famous name is that the octagon atrium, that closed up since early in the 20th century, was restored to its 19th century glory in the famous building's changeover to residential use.